Deadline, Chapter 2. Coach Banks stands near the center of the gym in his gold t shirt, which is really yellow, and purple shorts behind two boxes of new shoulder pads, whistle dangling from his neck on a purple and gold lanyard, clipboard in one hand, purple and gold cougar pen in the other, checking off names as each veteran player selects his armor. Todd Langford, the assistant coach, passes out knee and thigh pads and helmets. Freshmen and other first year players sit in the bleachers, patiently waiting for the gear to be picked over, predicting individual heroics unlikely to be fulfilled. I slip into the bleachers while Cody checks in with Coach. A few vets look at me in surprise and wave, surely wondering why a senior who probably weighs 5 more pounds than his pads is turning out for football for the first time. Cody points me out to Coach, who removes his purple Cougar baseball cap, peers into the bleachers, shakes his head, and waves. I wave back. It feels strange to pick up my gear with the frosh, but I'm enough smaller than most of them that we don't reach for the same set of shoulder pads at the same time. In fact, there have been so few guys in my size turning out for Cougar football in the past 10 years that my ancient pads are barely used. I tuck them and my practice uniform into my gear bag and take a seat beside my brother. The Wolf brothers are both seniors, though I'm 11 and a half months older. Mom and Dad held me back a year, hoping I'd grow enough to look less like a Wizard of Oz extra by the time I started kindergarten, but to no avail. So I'm old for our class and Cody's young. Except that I'm approximately 3/4 his size, we could be twins. Same general body design, plus or minus some muscles, same features, same hair and eyes. When he took over at quarterback in midseason last year and averaged 5 touchdowns, running or throwing, in the final 5 games, they started calling him Big Wolf. Guess who that made me? Coach paces in front of the bleachers. I've been giving the same speech more than 15 years, so you vets feel free to sing along. Rooks, best pretend you're hearing the audio version of the Bible for the first time, read by the protagonist. A murmur runs through the crowd, and Coach says, I guess that would require a big yes, sir. In unison, we roar, yes, sir. Coach smiles and takes off the cap again. Almost makes me wish I'd been in the military, he says. That's the last time I want to hear anyone calling me sir. Got that? The freshmen and new guys, myself excluded, thanks to Cody, repeat, yes, sir, while the veterans laugh. Gentlemen, he says, football is a game. Many of the good citizens of Trout will tell you it's much more than that, but it's not a microcosm of life. It's not a religious or patriotic experience. It's a game. It's a hell of a good one, though, and if you hang in there, you'll get to play. You'll ride the bench until I think you can help us, but you won't get cut. And the more effort you put in and the more carefully you listen and put into practice what you hear, the better are your chances of extended playing time. Understood? There were fewer yes sirs this time, more grunts of agreement. When Sooner Cowens heard sir, he sneered like he couldn't believe the dumb shits he was going to be playing with. By now, you've all signed off on the school's athletic code. It demands no drinking, no drugs, and no smoking for all in-season athletes. It also requires that you report those behaviors on other in-season athletes should you gain firsthand knowledge of their participation in them. You're also aware of our school's general zero-tolerance policy on drugs, alcohol, and violence? He scans the bleachers. We nod and grunt. Sooners' glare sweeps the bleachers, practically daring anyone to lay zero-tolerance anything on him. You can give me yes, Coach says. It's the sir I don't like. So we yell, yes? Well, I'm not a detective, and I don't demand you rat out your buddies. It sets you up to be liars and me to be lied to, and I have no time for that. I pay attention to performance. If you're drinking, it will affect your performance. If you're using drugs, it will affect your performance. If you're causing violence in school, you'll get suspended or expelled, and you'll be gone, and there won't be any performance. I will not throw you off this team for your actions off the football field. I will, however, adjust your playing time in accordance with your actions on the football field. On the field, I expect you to give it your all the time. You owe that to your teammates and to yourselves, and to Coach Langford and me. Learn your plays, hit hard and hit clean. If I have an inkling that you're hitting to injure in practice or in a game, I will jerk you off the field so fast your pads will remain at the point of infraction. And though I said football is not a religious experience, we will have a come to Jesus meeting in which I will play Jesus. We do not go after heads and we do not go after knees. This is a tough, high-risk sport, and we will not add to that risk. Is that clear? Yes. Beyond that, we hit to rattle skeletons. Coach tosses his hat toward the nearly empty boxes of pads and removes his whistle. He sighs. 14 years ago, a boy named Ron Ingalls tried to hang himself in the athletic equipment room. Ron wasn't much of an executioner, and I don't think he was all that serious because he knew I was coming, and he left the light on and turned the radio up. When I got him down, he said he did it because of the way the jocks treated him, and he named them. Every athlete he named played ball for me. It wasn't all jocks, guys. It was football players. Ron Ingalls was alone, not a part of anything. I teach English here, but in fact, I'm a scientist. What I know about science is that everything from the smallest atom to the universe itself works because of its parts. This team is a single entity. It works when everyone does its part, from the manager to the quarterback. I know because I know there are guys on this team who have nothing but contempt for other guys on this team. Off the field, hate away. On the field, we need each other. Every one of us operates better when every player does his job. And understand this, if not for fans, you guys would be out on a dusty, vacant lot with pieces of your mother's old torn-up pillowcases tucked into your belts, playing flag football when there's nothing good on TV. The fans are part of this entity too. He leans forward. This is where Ron Ingalls comes in. Every kid who walks the halls of Trout High is a member of this team. Do not be giving any members of the team a hard time because I will consider that to be detrimental to our mission. And I will bench you so hard, you'll be picking wood slivers out of your colon. Are there any questions? There are none. Okay, he says, let's head for the cafeteria and get this first day of practice under our belts. Oh, and gentlemen, Coach says as we begin to clear the bleachers, some of you may have taken history or civics classes that outlined the freedoms one enjoys in democracy. At the heart of those freedoms is choice. At this moment, you have the freedom to choose whether or not to play football. With an affirmative choice, all democracy vanishes. It's another 2 weeks before school starts, so we walk through the darkened, deserted halls toward the cafeteria, where we come upon card tables covered with tablecloths, a candle burning in the center of each. Caterers from Lindemann's, Trout's best imitation of an upscale restaurant, wait to serve us our choice of soup, salad, a meat or veggie entree, and a generous selection of desserts. This is one of Coach Banks's more eccentric traditions, marking our last day of relative comfort. I'm the only guy who orders the veggies. Coach squats next to Cody, who's sitting across from me. Randy Dolvin and Rich Glover sit to my right and left, popping bite-sized sirloin tips like popcorn. Ben Wolf, Coach says, this is your last year of high school. You are headed for state and cross country. What in the hell are you doing here? I want a new experience. He can't help but take in my size. People I've never met do that the moment they hear my deep voice and realize I'm not a sixth grader. But I've known Coach since junior high school when he came to our house to lay out future plans for my brother, took a look around, and turned into our backup dad. In Coach's defense, he is seeing me for the first time in this light. The new experience could be brain damage, he says. Dolvin says, that wouldn't be a new experience. Have you talked with Coach Gildehouse? Coach asks. Gildehouse coaches cross country. I left a message on his answering machine yesterday afternoon. I say, I'll talk with him today. He called Coach Gildy when he knew he wouldn't be there, Cody says, like I do with you when my shit is in the street. What do you think of this? Coach asks my brother. Sole surviving son, Cody says, doubles the inheritance pool for me. Glad you're not my brother, Coach says and turns back to me. I can't promise you much playing time, buddy. Most of these seniors have 3 years experience. He looks me over again. And you have to admit you're not exactly, what do you weigh now? 130. He stares. Cody looks away and smiles. Okay, 123. Listen, Coach, I'm not the delinquent ant crawling up the elephant's leg with sexual pleasures in mind. I've always had a fantasy of playing ball. I could turn out to be a weapon on special teams or something. Coach palms the back of his neck. Well, I've never turned a kid away, and I'm not going to start now, as long as you know what you're getting into. He stands. You get this squared away with Coach Gildehouse today. If Coach knew what I was already into, he wouldn't give this a second thought. Football's tough, but it doesn't usually kill you. He's right about my being a cross-country stud, which is a bit of a miracle itself, given my revolutions per minute are double those skinny, long-legged dudes I run against. But I'm a guy who does what it takes, and if I can do what it takes in cross-country at this height, I can do what it takes in football at this weight. Sure, there are guys out there twice my size, just like there are guys in cross-country with twice my inseam, but the only reason I never turned out before was fear of permanent damage, and permanent won't last as long now. And shoot, Even Jim Brown couldn't have taken a straight shot from a 123-pound bowling ball if it was rolling fast enough. Sports is about concentration and confidence. There were about 5 million high school round ballers who could run faster, jump higher, dribble behind their backs and between their legs better than Larry Bird, but not one of them could hang on the court with him for the time it takes a bull rider to get points, even now, and he's been retired forever. It's in the mind. Plus, I'm blessed with one thing no one on our team or any other team has. I'm blessed with nothing to lose.